that is not the position that they hold. And while that is true, and they're playing for who can have the most money and resources, I kind of feel like, I don't know, we already won? Does that make any sense? Welcome to Strategy and Solidarity Pod, the podcast, an act of revolutionary defiance and a celebration of the things that bring us comfort, solace, and joy as we work to reclaim our humanity together. I am Carlos Kareem Wyndham.
And I'm Theresa Logan. Hey, Carlos.
How are you, my friend?
I'm, given the baseline, housed, have food to eat. My children are mostly healthy. My home is not being bombed. I'm doing fabulous. How about you?
Right.
How's your nervous system doing today?
By that baseline, I'm doing relatively well, I think. My nervous system seems to be doing well. I was saying earlier that I was quite pleased that I had not popped off on anyone. Not that nobody deserves it, but I haven't. And that's a blessing.
Who did you want to pop off on?
That's a blessing. Not my landlord. What? That would be crazy. For why? Why would that ever happen in this day and age of people offering so much understanding and leniency, and so many of our collectors, because they are people, my friend, are giving us so much spaciousness and kindness, and really being thoughtful about the crashing economy around us all, while they come to charge you more for what their bank did. You know what I mean? That's why I love a land. What they want to do is keep us all housed, and they're doing such a great job across America, which is why there are not shanty towns in every city. So good. One for the landlords. One for the landlords. Thank you. Thumbs up for you.
They want to profit off of their investments and generally do not care whether or not we individually stay housed. I think there's exceptions to that rule. Like when there's one person renting out a piece of property. My father's been living in a trailer on the same land with an 80-year-old landlord who actually lowered his rent when the economy crashed in 2008. So like there's exceptions here and there, but by and large, especially when you got property management companies running a good number of the residential units, they're just trying to extract as much profit as possible.
Yeah, or self-made and made up property companies that are. Anyway, what? Hey.
What happens to your nervous system if we start talking about landlords and rent?
Hey. It gets a little irked. But yeah.
Well, I mean, overall, it is, and it's, I've only been a so-called homeowner, but I'm really just renting from the bank until I'm about 75 years old on a rent-to-own plan for like 6 months since we moved into this house. But dealing with landlords and issues around housing and whether they're going to kick you out or not kick you out or raise the rent, it really does activate all of your like survival responses, right? Like,
for sure.
Can definitely activate those threat responses of like, threatening my housing is threatening my survival. And that is one of the things that could very rapidly knock me out of my resilience zone or out of my, well-resourced baseline into some of those survival responses of, fight, flee, fawn, etc. And just mess up my whole day or mess up my whole week. And it would only take, some random text from the landlord about this is wrong or that's wrong, or usually trying to kick me out of my house so that they could develop it. And I did get displaced.
Jaw clenching business here for me.
Twice.
Yeah. Jaw clenching and
what I want to know is,
breathing and slow speaking.
Did they get the traps cleaned out of your house? Because I would be withholding payment until they took care of that.
Yeah, no, that is done and done. So that's all taken care of. But
You had some non-consensual roommates.
yeah, 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 yeah,
House
yeah.
mascot.
Man, which we all do to some degree because they live here, as do the rabbits, and some are as do the what are the other things, the
Squirrels.
squirrels, and some people think some of them are fine and none of them are, and it's because some kid let one go once, and now we're all stuck with it all. And
A
what are
squirrel?
you gonna do? I don't know, not a
I'm
squirrel,
pretty sure the
not the
squirrels are from
squirrels.
here, aren't they?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I was always amazed, like even how I could just be in the middle of the city and how much life would be in my backyard. Like squirrels and bees and birds. And
My.
I did see a bunny rabbit hop through one time. And apparently they're all over inner Northeast Portland now, which I had never seen in my lifetime. But I saw one like hop across the street on Williams by Broadway, like, which is over by the Moda Center. For anyone who doesn't know, Portland is just concrete on every side of the road. I'm like, where are you coming from? And where are you going, little bunny? How many of you are out
Yeah.
there that you are just exploring this very busy freeway on ramp?
Yeah, they're so for those who will be having their traffic impacted by the playoffs this year, congratulations to Portland. It's going to be further impacted because on top of the game, there are going to be rabbits running across the streets.
Are we
That's
hosting
about
the
to be
NBA
true.
playoffs?
At some point, we will be, yeah, off and
NBA.
on. Hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
This must be part of their ploy to get
Yep.
the Moda Center rebuilt or remodeled or whatever they're trying to do.
Winning is part of the ploy. What do you mean? You have to win your way into the playoffs. You don't just get there.
The Blazers are winning this year.
Well, they're in the playoffs. Who the hell
good
knows?
for
They're in
them.
the finals, I think.
I have not really paid attention to basketball since high school, probably.
Yeah. I know Dame is,
But it was a
back.
big deal.
That's what I know.
When we made it to the championships in 92 or something, somewhere around there.
Oh yeah. The
Clyde Drexler.
Drexler, loved Drexler. I loved Drexler with his fast three. Him charging at you with the basketball. There was a poster of him and his two forwards behind him, and the poster simply said over the top of it, "Uh-oh." And in the late 80s and early 90s, that was going to the mall. I was a child, flipping through the posters. That was one of my favorite things. I still remember that poster. That was a solid one. Like, yeah, damn, Clyde Drexler can ball. Dude can ball. Could ball.
Oh, we made it 2 years, and we made it in 90 and 92. We lost to Detroit in 1990 and the Bulls in 92.
Yeah,
so
90.
I was mostly correct.
About.
It was a big deal at that time.
92 was the Scottie Pippen year, and that was the year that you traded in for the Pip. No tippin' Pippen. That's his nickname.
Okay.
Throughout the NBA and anyone who has ever served him in any industry.
Well, the thing I have paid just barely slightly more attention to is like urban development and community planning and that sort of thing. And apparently our band played at the grand opening of the Moda Center when I was in middle school, which I believe was in like 95 or 96 or something like that. I was in middle school. We played. I have a picture of me sitting in front of the newly opened Rose Garden, as was its original and always will be to me name. So the fact that now they're like, oh, it's so old, it must be torn down or remodeled is a bit astonishing to me because it still feels brand new. Even though that was a good 30 years ago. I'm like, but I played at the grand opening. It's brand new. They just built it. But that a piece of real estate that large would need to be demolished or completely remodeled after 30 years. I mean, doing some updating or whatever inside seems reasonable, but that seems absurd that you'd put that much money and time and effort and investment into something and its reasonable lifespan is only 30 years. Seems absurd.
Yeah, I don't know if that, I think that's the reasonable lifespan because, and I'm not certainly rooting for it because that's not my jam, but I am aware that once one market, meaning one, and they refer to each stadium and each team as a market. So blah, 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 blah. Once each market starts building up its stadium, starts building up its infrastructure, they have to, others, especially those who have not been in a place to update their situation, end up having to update their situation if they're going to get any players, both to retain and to recruit them.
Well, it sounds like if we want to keep our team, they need a new stadium. It sounds like they're definitely threatening to leave if they don't get something new.
Yeah, that's what it starts to come down to because Seattle's about to get its team back, and that team is coming from someplace. So,
where did Seattle's team go? Seattle Supersonics?
Yeah, they've been gone. That's Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
Where did they go?
Oklahoma.
They went to Oklahoma?
That's been the Thunder. Yeah.
Oh,
that's been.
Yeah, I haven't kept up. Again, what my knowledge of baseball ends around the year 2000. I did not carry it into the new millennia with me.
We're talking about basketball.
My family were hardcore basketball fans. Everybody played basketball when they were kids. So I was raised, I was like, everybody would go sit around the little tiny TV in grandma's basement and watch all the basketball games.
Yeah, I thought you said baseball, and I was like, "Oh my God, what just happened?"
No,
but that may have been my internal.
I got Blazer tickets for like my 10th birthday, and I pretty much felt like I had won the lottery, and I thought it was the fanciest thing I had ever done.
Yeah,
and now there's like $10 tickets, and my kids could go whenever. But it was a very special thing.
It's a different team and a different
time. That time. And they were a good team at that time. This is true.
Yeah. Different thing, different time. I still remember seeing...
they were still playing at the Coliseum when I went.
Yeah, I saw the Nuggets.
It's pretty much like seeing a show on Broadway because the Coliseum's so tiny.
Right? Where were the Nuggets? The Nuggets were playing at McNichols Arena, which is not there, I believe. I have no idea where they play. I have not been back to Colorado to look at a basketball game since I don't even know when. Yeah. Anyway, who cares?
Well, I was just thinking about that. Like, what is the function of nostalgia? I think sometimes it can have a role that's like escapist of like, let me escape back to a time where I have more fond memories and I've blacked out the difficult memories of that time. Because when we think back nostalgically, we're often, like we talked about confirmation bias the other time, we're kind of doing confirmation bias of the past. We're just selecting the pieces that we want to revisit and kind of ignoring or papering over the things that are hard. So I think there can be a little bit of escapism. It can be collective history making and storytelling of just like, this is where we come from and these are the things that mattered and this is how we got to where we are now. It's also just how we make sense of our own lives, that we have lived a linear life.
I would also argue that it is perhaps concurrent to all of those things, the most toxic of human impulses and how it is
interesting
being weaponized for the purposes of the oligarchy,
as in MAGA.
No. As in the oligarchy, as in the wealthy, as in selling us things like, as we spoke about a few episodes ago, Garfield telephones. You know what I mean? Like shit like that.
Was that
like
nostalgia?
If there is a nostalgia for plug-in,
if you buy one now,
remember we were talking about that. So if you buy anything right? You're buying it from corporate whatever, but there is forever a push for nostalgia. And now that we live in this weird, like, timeless postmodernist, everything is whatever, and everyone is just choosing the style lane that worked for them in what is ever is their imagination or whatever their aspiration is. More and more, we are all living in a what are those stores? I can't remember the name because I don't go to the mall enough.
Department
The
store?
Yeah, where the kids get all their like faux concert t-shirts and that. The goth kids love to go there.
Like Hot Topic?
There you go. Yes. It's somewhere between Hot Topic and Lane Bryant and
Macy's?
Forever 21. And everybody is like, and again, I have so much my own nostalgia and like my own thinking, right? I think about buying clothes at the mall, and I still, when on the rare occasion, thank you economy, that I ever do get to buy a thing, it's certainly at a boutique at this point. But like, I don't love the reality that we all shop from our phones like it's a Sears catalog. And I don't love that I have no reference for that except for a Sears catalog. Um, Nostalgia, very toxic, and it can make you feel, it can get you stuck. And there was not a better time before. There was not. It was.
You think it's inherently toxic, or you think it's weaponized in a toxic way?
I think it might be inherently toxic. I think the idea. I think that. I think it is toxic. Like a lot of things are toxic. It doesn't mean that it doesn't feel good sometimes, right? But it also, like, you can't just live there. You cannot just live there. Like, there is no good old days. We cannot be living. We can't all just be eating at a 1950s diner forever. Like, things change. The world is different. Your favorite fast food place tastes like Dookie now. Nobody wants to eat that. Like, we're just in a different world than we were. And the things that, as you said, right, like, it was a treat to go and like get KFC and like, or go to Red Barn or whatever
Popeyes.
you're there. Fine. There you
Wing
go.
fling and red beans and rice.
There you go. We were
The
a
strawberry
Red Barn
soda.
family. We were a Red Barn family
I don't know what
ourselves.
that is. What's a Red Barn?
I know it's a thing that was older than well, not older than Popeyes, but before Popeyes
As a Colorado
was
thing?
national. No, it was national. But anyway, to do that and then go to your basketball game with your folks, or go to the circus, or go to whatever, again, probably having elephants on chains was not a great idea. Carnies have not been known to have lived great lives in our past collectively. It's very complicated, right? It's very complicated. The sheen and the fantasy that we are offered around ideas about ought to be, should be, stability, way forward, right? We're all in that final scene of The Graduate, divorcing the United States and what used to be the American dream right now, just riding on a bus staring off into space. And it is a challenge to not, because of that, drift off into nostalgia, right? And forget about the level of work that we have to get done. And there's so much work to do. Hoping for somebody to give us a return to normalcy, when, my friend, uniculture may have been the abnormal part, and we may actually need to be much more provincial, much more regional, much more uh, interdependent still, but interdependent, not locked into some glom of a faux culture, right? That's built from entertainment, Hollywood, and an education department rooted in a public publishing firm in Texas. Like that seems problematic, and that's how we've grown up. I mean, that was the best version of that, right? Like when we had those books from when we were going to the book fairs. That company is in Texas. Scholastic doing the Scholastics. When we had textbooks, those were printed in Texas. They still are,
Many of them,
right?
not all of them, but many of them.
Most that end up in the public schools, or used to. There's not textbooks now. I understand, but yeah, it's just it's like the fact that that is what we are built on, and that when we know as adults that school was built for the purpose of creating a unified culture, as it were, and incorporated, the square dancing lessons of the Fords and all this weird racist stuff.
I think it was mostly designed to produce cogs for capitalism. With that unified culture, I suppose.
But white cogs for capitalism, and anything that was celebrated was about creating a culture around celebrating exactly that, right? And belittling anything that was not that.
Yes.
Whether that be Europe, whether that be anything.
This African was your experience descent. In school.
Absolutely. The redcoats are coming. This was everybody's experience. What are we talking about?
Well, I mean, I'm a decade younger than you. I also went to Harriet Tubman Middle School. We did a lot of Black history. We sang the Black National Anthem at every assembly. Like I was getting a slightly different take on.
Did you not?
What's that?
You went to elementary school, did you not?
I did. My elementary school had like every classroom studied a different country. I was in the multicultural area. Every classroom studied a different culture from somewhere around the world, and we had multicultural night, and we had a little passport, and we went and learned about all the different cultures from all the different parts of the world and got little stamps in our passport. So are you
suggesting that you were not told that George Washington was always told the truth and the cherry tree?
I never heard he had wooden teeth.
I
never learned about the wooden teeth.
I'm not saying wooden teeth.
I definitely learned the cherry tree thing.
Okay.
For sure. Never learned about the wooden teeth. Emancipation Proclamation.
Right. Freed the slaves is how they say it in elementary school.
Free the slaves.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm not. And I'm not like bemoaning, the high school experience was different.
What I'm saying is by the time I was in high school,
culture.
I was reading lies my teacher told me, right? Like there was a slightly different generational shift, that there was this era of multiculturalism, that there was some, again, still very whitewashed and white savory and all these things, but there,
whitewashed. That's hilarious.
And even at Harriet Tubman Middle School, still a lot of white women teachers, but there was a different approach to some minimal level of political racial education happening there. Not a lot, but definitely more than I was getting at all more predominantly white schools.
Yeah. That's dope.
So there was an era where there was a little bit more effort to do that. Wasn't full on American, at least where I was, full on American propaganda. A lot of it, plenty of it, but there was a bit of a shift at that time. I think, and if we come back to nostalgia, it's like that was a moment where we really were thinking about the future. Right? We were the class of 2000, the turn of the millennia. What would await us? It was not zombie apocalypse and climate change. We were not there yet. I think those things the conversation was beginning, but Al Gore's movie didn't come out till after that election, did it? Right? Like we hadn't really gone into full on climate panic. The internet was like in its early days of like exciting. You could talk to this person across the world. And like, it was a moment where it wasn't full of nostalgia because there was excitement for the future and what could be accomplished and what this like post-racial democracy of the future might look like and that sort of thing. that was a very different moment compared to now, where I think nostalgia sells so well right now because the future is so uncertain and so scary that people are like, take me back to when I felt safe, or when I at least knew what the challenges were. Even my 11-year-old, when she was 10, wanted to have a nostalgia party with her friends. You have to be nostalgic about it 10 years old. But it's like she wanted to go like watch the shows they watched when they're in kindergarten and eat, fruit snacks and goldfish crackers. It was like basically she wanted to go have a preschool party or something. And I think like it's such a different moment for these kids and for all of us right now, that it's not about what, brave new world is out ahead of us, but it's like it's a fucking brave new world, and like the book. Like, it's gonna be scary and don't know what is happening, or how we're all going to make it through. And so I think that's one of the reasons that nostalgia is like a coping mechanism for the moment, because it's not a moment where there is excitement and possibility for the future. It's a moment where there's a lot of like, let me cling on to what I have right now so I don't lose it, and let me like time travel back to the past where things felt more hopeful, instead of what I think that's all reasonable. And I think it's a fine coping strategy if that's what you got for the day. But I think what we really need in the moment is to be channeling some of that energy, of those times, to like dare to believe that there's still a hopeful future ahead, that there are many challenges, but to dream of what are the not solutions. There's not necessarily a solution, but what are the strategies for navigating climate change? What are the strategies for building resilient communities? What are the strategies for creating schools where children actually thrive instead of feeling like their soul is being sucked out of them while they sit in a prison all day long? I don't know. I just feel like in this moment, the nostalgia pull is so strong because of how uncertain and fearful things look in the future. And I don't know if it's inherently toxic. I feel like there's probably useful functions for it here and there, but I'll give you that I don't think it's a super productive pastime in this moment when we really do need to be dreaming more than ever about what the future can look like in ways that are hopeful and maybe not idealistic and perfect, but like hopeful that there is hope and there are things that can be created and there is a path forward and there is something for our children and our grandchildren to look forward to, instead of all death, doom, gloom, and destruction, which is mostly the narrative that's being, peddled, and it's not outside of logic to look at the predictions of what's coming. Not as, and again, I'm not saying as a bypassing way, but just in a way of opening up possibility and opportunity that there is still life to be had and created and lived and enjoy, even though things are going to look really different than they have in what we know of the past.
Well, they do, and they don't, right? Like we talk about how, que escándalo is like everything is going on right now, or coming to light, as it were, because it's been going on, right? Ultimately, because I am older than you, and so I had to look back, and I was like, okay, wait, what the hell was going on in 2002? Was the year of Bush v. Gore, which was the same year, the first year that I think they called them the polo shirt mob or some shit like that. The white people in Florida started attacking buildings, right? That the very
Yeah,
year
they took over
it
that
was
building.
right. It was the Florida recount crisis.
Hmm.
After the election
They
night,
stopped they shut down the recount.
that's right. Bush led by a tiny margin. There was an automatic machine recount because of it, and there was confusion in Palm Beach because
Hanging
of
chads.
the hanging chads and the butterfly ballots, right? And through all of that, the response of Republicans was to show out with violence and scare the shit out of the vote counters,
Shut it down.
uh,
And
and
the
shut it
Supreme
down.
Court did what the Supreme Court does, which say it'll be better for our stability if we shut the countdown and just go with who we think the winner probably
With
was,
who it
even though
looks
he
like it
lost the
is,
popular vote, right?
and then Gore conceded, which again set the tone
Not the
for
right strategy.
Schumer, set the tone for
Last 26 years of Democratic strategy.
right, including what's happening now.
Look like the nice guy who plays by the rules, even though you're sacrificing all of our future generations to bigots and oligarchs.
Gavin Newsom, right? Like, piece of shit. No, like, don't fall for this. Don't fall for this. Like, he can talk. He's great. He knows history. He knows how to win an election. He is an oligarch. He doesn't give a single solitary fuck about the poor. Have you been to San Francisco lately? Now, I'm not suggesting that we have a red hat response to the circumstance. That's not the move. But what I am suggesting is that Democrats and corporate Democrats who still refuse to be held to account and refuse to take PAC money from Israel are not our goddamn friends. And it's time that we learn that. And it's time that we learn that and accept that so that we can move forward, as you were saying. Because I do think there's a future forward. I really do. But I don't think that it is in the place of going back to these times, because I love the multicultural era. I really do. There was a palpable hope in the air. I remember it.
And that was the 90s. That was a lead up to 2000. And you're correct. Then we got there. We survived Y2K. Right? But that was the start of, that kind of underhanded, we will win at any cost, Republican backlash towards multiculturalism.
Yeah, that's how we stepped into it. The U.S. Commission on Civil Rights finding that the countless eligible voters, quote unquote, countless eligible voters, particularly in minority communities, were wrongfully purged from the vote. In particular, the registration polls, and were also turned away in Florida, and that primarily what was happening was referred to as not that. Now they say it wasn't a scandal. This was a huge scandal. If you gave a shit about the country, Clinton fatigue, which because ew, but
and
also
another abuser. Well, you don't become. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple. Nothing to my knowledge ever came out about Obama, but it's very hard to be a man in power without finding a lot of abuse.
There's some stuff there. There's some stuff there. We got some Rahm Emanuel there. We got a whole lot of Chicago nepotism there. We have him destroying the opportunity for incumbents who had been working on behalf of Chicago for generations to continue the work.
I never heard of him being a predator to women.
You mean nasty?
Sure. If you're going to be in power, you're going to wheel and deal in power, and there's going to be things and people are going to be upset. Like, there is no Messiah who's a perfect person who has nothing anyone could ever complain about what they did. That does not exist. So I'm sure those things exist. I don't know enough to know. I'm saying in all his time in office, there was never a single accusation of sexual misconduct of Obama. But I think he's probably the one exception to the rule of people who have held that office.
I will agree, and I will stipulate as far as we know.
As far as we know.
I will say that because
I feel like they would have found them if they existed, but yes.
I'm sure there would be a broader conversation coming out of he hates his wife so much. The president hates his wife so much.
Obama?
No.
Oh, the current one?
The current one.
Yeah, he mostly just seems to hate women.
He first
He wants to dominate, control, manipulate, and exploit them, but definitely hates them.
Pave the Rose Garden, which his wife had restored.
Wow. Really?
In the name of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, who, by the way, not a very good person at all. And maybe it turns out, as they keep digging into history, was a beneficiary
Her new husband had her
to
old husband killed,
uh,
maybe.
is all that maybe what
There's a conspiracy.
her new husband's dad maybe
There's no good
had
people. I
something
don't
to do
need
with
people
it.
to be perfect people. We will
I don't
never
need her
finish
to
this
be good.
conversation if we talk about who did what wrong. Anyway,
She made a great rose garden.
Melania
Did
restored the rose garden.
The one thing
Okay,
she did, and out of
lovely.
just spite, this
He
motherfucker
tore it
turns it
down.
into an olive garden, and then rips down the entire wing. The
Where her offices would be.
P.S. Yeah, that's the offices of
She don't live there anyway,
of the first lady.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
yeah, he hates women.
Doesn't matter. That's the offices of the first lady. There are going to be other first ladies. What are you doing?
He's not intending to leave. He's going to make everything the way he wants it. He's going to do as much damage, or I'm sure he thinks he's building something lovely in his twisted mind as possible. And if he has to leave, then everyone will know he was there. He's really not trying to leave.
But they're going to rebuild it, and it's going to suck. It's going to take forever. What kind of psychopath? I mean, that's Napoleonic shit.
Yes, it's probably reads. What's that book the people read?
Napoleonic shit.
The Prince. What's that? Who wrote that?
What? The Little Prince?
Machiavelli.
Prince's biography. Oh, Machiavellian. Yeah.
Machiavelli wrote The Prince. That's the thing that they like to read about. It's best to be loved and feared, but if you can only have one, it's better to be feared than loved.
What psychopaths?
Yeah. It's
what
just their
sociopaths?
Power. And will sacrifice anything to get it, including children. In many different ways.
It's not cute. It's not cute.
Okay. I don't know how we got here from basketball.
Well, it's not hard to do, but yeah, I get it. I get it. Tim McVeigh was something else that I had brought up, and I brought it up when we were having our pre-talk. I'm going to go back a thought. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back a thought. We're all going to rewind, and I'm going to take that thought back because you had asked how we got here from basketball, and it was about nostalgia. And we were talking about nostalgia and when we look back and when we think back and how I was suggesting that it is a toxic, is it an emotion?
Pastime.
The want for a past that did not
it's an
truly
action.
exist.
It's not emotion, it's an action. Like you're you're revisiting history or imagining history or
you're
remembering the pieces you want to.
Right. It's active
I think there's times where it can be emotion, but it feels more like an action of time travel.
Wistful, right? Like wanting to like wanting for Big Boy to be a national chain and for it to be good again. Like that's never going to happen. That's over. Arby's is over. Azars is over. Azars is the company that owned Big Boy. That's why I said Arby's. I got it confused for a second. I was alive during all of that.
Okay.
I was alive when you would get your soda at a Walgreens, and you could also get a burger there. So
at
anyway,
a Walgreens.
Yep. Because it was a follow through on the origin of soda fountains, which were actually in the medicine areas, because a bubble water was thought to ease your digestion, and was a thing that you would get from your pharmacist. And then eventually they had younger people who meant to get your sodas for you, and they were called soda jerks, and eventually referred to simply as jerks because you had to jerk the machine down like that, right? So you're jerking down the machine. So those are the soda jerks, the people who have to do it. And that was just the title of the job. And eventually having that job was just called a jerk.
Is this toxic nostalgia, or is this just a history lesson?
No,
what's happening
history.
right now?
This is just nonsense history.
Okay.
And so this
All
is
right.
a jerk. And the jerk was ended up being what you would call somebody who could not then get a job as they aged and whatever. And then it was just a dum-dum. And then it was, hey, you jerk. And so, see,
Interesting.
that's how toxicity works. They will swallow up any language and make it a bad thing. So it's 420.
April 20th, 2026.
It is April 20th.
Like it's not 4:20 o'clock right now.
No. But as it is 420, when I say those words, what to you does that convey? May I ask?
High schoolers smoking weed?
That is hilarious. Yeah, you had a very different experience as a young person than did I. That's
I'm sure
wild.
you smoked more weed than I did since I smoked almost none. I don't know. People are like 420 is the time you go smoke weed. I was like, is that just because it's what time you get home from school? Like, I don't understand. I never understood it.
You never understood. And this was happening at your high school.
Kids would make jokes about 420.
They would make jokes, but were they going to go smoke someplace, or what was happening?
Most of my friends were broke. Nobody had that kind of money, but
okay.
Jokes.
Did the date turn into anything here?
I don't know what that means. No.
All right. Okay.
April 20th. So, what is it?
Oh, well, so 420 was a time to smoke. And again, I'm talking about something that is just historically true of the 90s, and want to be clear that as we're doing this, right, it's to sort of dissuade the idea of nostalgia, because I still on this day have fond memories, but the fond memories,
everything you like doesn't have to be toxic. I feel like you can be nostalgic without it being toxic.
Well, but
anyway, okay, finish the story.
Fond memories. That's just having
fond memories of 420.
Because I'm not trying to turn it back, because it was weird and you can't do it now. It's just gone. It's gone. It had become prior to decriminalization of cannabis use, and before the fake movement around it's a medical thing only, and nobody's having any fun with this at all, and you have to legalize it for glaucoma. And yes, but stop it, and give it to whoever wants it. It's whatever. It's a plan. But the arguments and all of that were still like Timothy Leary was in prison for like LSD. Like it was not a freedom country. Clinton was elected only because he said he was tough on crime. It was the beginning of the surveillance state under which we currently live. It was very, very tight. And on 420, at the campus at the University of Colorado, what would happen is hundreds and hundreds of protesters would take over the quad and would all smoke at exactly 420. And when I say hundreds and hundreds, billowing cloud of smoke would be coming out of the campus
at 4:20 p.m. on April 20th.
4:20 p.m. on April 20th, like a mushroom cloud, in protestation, and making it clear, hey, you could say what you want. A lot of us have been nabbed up. People go to jail here and there. But if you knew what we know about what Peter Tosh had said, which is now just taken for common sense, doctors, lawyers, architects, scholars, students, busboys, everybody smokes this. This is what is happening. This is the deal. And so 420 went from this like idea in the, I believe it was 60s or 70s, about like, yeah, it's one group of friends in California who smoke. That's the apocryphal reason to a celebration of herb and herb smoke. And so then people started studying the history of it. And it turns out that it's also, and it makes it not as fun for me to celebrate, the birthday of this strange little man who ended up taking over Germany for a little while. He was a frustrated painter. He stole his look from Charlie Chaplin and really ruined a mustache that I've only seen grown one other time, and that's on Michael Jordan, which says its whole own thing. And so the other thing that happened in the 90s was that Timothy McVeigh.
Hold on. You are protesting weed by smoking on Hitler's birthday?
We did not know.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't really the point for us. We found this was a thing that was discovered later.
It's probably a lot of other people's birthday too.
Right. Here's how.
Is there a connection? Okay.
I'm going to follow through. Is that Timmy McVeigh had bombed Oklahoma City, right? And he had bombed Oklahoma City because he was frustrated and alarmed and shocked by how the ATF had responded to David Koresh, who was an associate of his. All right. Now, David Koresh was an armed, heavily armed cult leader. No other words I can think of for what happened there in Waco. Now, were they deeply associated with a longing for a white nationalist movement? Yes, absolutely, they were.
The people at Waco?
Yes.
Okay.
In particular, as it was taught by, as Christianity was mistaught by David Koresh, who was a savior in his movement, also a polygamist. When the ATF, after days and days and days and days and days and days and days of negotiation, went in and after they got tired of it, literally set the compound on fire, thinking that would force the kids and the survivors to come out. The thing is that because the ATF had already shot one of the folks inside, they had already barricaded themselves inside. So when they got impatient and then shot all of the pyrotechnics into the basement and the ceiling and the roof, guess what? It went up in flames. Tim McVeigh, a bunch of other white supremacists saw this, took it as a personal affront. And this happened on the heels of the Unabomber. Now, the Unabomber was on a very different side of things, was attacking the government for very different reasons, and was an anti-technologist and believed that it was getting to be a bit too much. But the government had the same response. We're going to shoot them. Stop it.
What is the point of this history lesson?
All of this to say, Tim McVeigh bombed the Oklahoma City Federal Building on 4/19.
Preschool on the first floor, if I recall.
Yeah. Because the way that it was done was just using fertilizer in his truck. It was not. The preschool was certainly impacted. It impacted the entire building, but it killed a lot of children, which was why it made so much news, in particular. And he chose 4/19. Hitler's birthday eve, That's why he chose 419. And it took, I'm sure, I don't know how long it took the FBI to make the connection. But the fact that it is only in common parlance around the dangers of being mindful around what is happening within the armed white supremacist rebellion community around this particular date is a thing to keep an eye on, both astrologically and historically, as the universe decided to use this day to give us both Adolf Hitler and the bombing that was performed by Timothy McVeigh, which set into deep motion the tinfoil hats turning themselves into the Tea Party, who then turned themselves into the Red Hats and tried to take over Congress, and now are running things. And the FBI right now is not equipped in any way, even if it wanted to deal with a current Timothy McVeigh.
Well, they don't need to blow anything up. They're in power right now. They're in power. Why would they want to blow things up now? They won.
I don't know. They still do stuff like that. There's still black people. There's still nice things. They're still trying to dismantle things each and every day.
Yeah, from the levers of power. Just shut off funding to every social service. It's a lot more effective than a bomb in one building.
Yeah, and you gotta pave over things. You have to shut them down. The Kennedy Center is closed right now entirely.
National parks are going to get drilled.
National parks are
Forest
getting
Service
fucked.
Anyway, what is the strategy or solidarity of this history lesson?
Well, all of that to say, like the idea of looking.
Where's the
backward.
Revolutionary hope and joy?
Well, here's the revolutionary reality: going back to look backward toward this like idea of this nostalgic. Oh, it was all better, and now it's just fucked. And no, this is the worst part. Well, okay, is it? There's a lot of ghosts in the build from the building that McVeigh set off, and a lot of victims who are still and currently both missing and being swept up not only by the followers of this movement, but the followers of this movement are in military power within the United States. And like, that's the kind of power, like more than the levers and turning anything off and on, that I find.
The military is a lever of power. It's a very big one.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and they're clearing out the judiciary, which is.
Okay. So are we just going on a doom spiral here? I'm not.
The next thing
I'm still. What's happening?
To do.
What are we doing?
No. It's the awareness that as in the words of the great Billy Joel. Now, when I say the great, we're talking about musicianship alone. The good old days weren't always good. And tomorrow ain't as bad as it seems. But to get stuck in nostalgia, I mean, that's just that, that's where it gets gooey, because now that's where we're just doing this selective memory of a past, right? That for each of us, right? We each grew up during a different time. Like, I was romanticizing these chains as they were first developing, and these ideas building out of this is how you do your family night, right? Was becoming a norm on Friday nights because divorce was just starting to happen. Two working parents was starting to happen, right? You talking about the rose garden, the fact that I still can't call the where the Lakers play anything but the Staples Center. I still wish they played at the Forum. You know, like cute, and that kind of nostalgia is also part of a culture that existed that was even not more differently hyper vigilant about regulating and policing people through power and dominance. And it was both through the sort of excruciating pain that the Black community had only been able to see brought to light through the Rodney King incident, through O.J. Simpson, that left us cheering for O.J. and celebrating that he was found not guilty, because we had not seen ever the system work to the benefit of Black people. And we had been saying it and saying it and saying it and saying it, and no one believed it until Los Angeles was on fire. And it was just like, yeah, that's what we've been saying. And to see that moment, right, which was a tipping moment, but to look back at it as somebody who had compatriots who were directly in Los Angeles during the rebellion, who experienced my own level of rebellion during that time, certainly there was a joy, right, in having self-determination and being self-determined in what we were doing and having political clarity about why. And we weren't any more popular than is the far left now. The idea of having to let go of most of the infrastructure in order to and rebuild in order to secure lives, and what the reaction of that is going to be by the white folks, in particular the loony white men, who even with evidence in front of them will say, what's your source? The Atlantic? 9 witnesses from in the FBI? Yeah, but they didn't give names. Yeah, that's how reporting works, right? There are people in active denial about where we are, how we live. They're going to react poorly as we reconstruct and move forward. But we still will reconstruct. We still will move forward. And we still will survive, because this too shall pass and we shall overcome. Not all of us are getting out of it alive, though.
What year did Timothy McVeigh
anyway.
bomb the federal building in Oklahoma City?
Let's see. Precisely, because he
was that 2000, 96? 96 was the Atlanta Olympics,
95.
I think. 95.
That was 1995.
You can my takeaway from the history is you can accomplish a lot in 30 years with a fairly small group of people if you're determined and you have a dream that you're willing to work for. It is a nightmare for me, the one they've been working for, but they sure accomplished a lot. If it's, the way you traced it from who was impacted by what and how they built up over the 30 years plus the last 50 years of the Heritage Foundation, you can accomplish a lot. But you have to actually have a strategy and then go work it. And it can't be, I'm morally unimpeachable, or we'll tear down everyone who they weren't worrying about who was or wasn't a predator, or who was or wasn't morally impeachable as they're moving that strategy. I'm not saying have a party full of monsters that no one holds accountable, but there is a place of the constant need to assess the moral purity of every potential leader, past, present, or future. I don't know in this moment where the line between accountability and actual effective strategy is.
Yeah, I think
mostly it just seems to make us keep losing.
Clear out the rapists is just a fair policy, period. Period. I don't care. I don't care. Clear them out. Clear them out. What's happening in the Solwell? Good. Bye. See ya. See ya, creep. We don't need you. We'll figure it out. And the Republicans, were sitting on that and hoping to bust it out during the election, which is even more horrifying. Get out of here.
Yes, because
Get
they
out of
have
here.
better strategy and they're willing to risk more. They have no moral compass.
Well, let's find them now and get them out of here now. The eight, I'm going to correct myself, were lost during the explosion, and he was aiming at the World Trade Center because at that point, the conspiracy theory was still to take out the trade centers, because if you did that, that was what was going to correct the balance for everybody. There were 19 uh, children who were murdered, and there were several hundred more who were injured. I still send my condolences to each one of their families. Um,
Yeah, those are people who are willing to sacrifice children's lives to reach their end. That's not something I'm willing to do.
yeah, and
But many people in power are. They're willing to sacrifice children's lives here. They're willing to blow them up. They're willing to cut off their food aid. They're willing to cut off the support services at school. They're willing to cut off medicine abroad. They're willing to let them have no health care. Willing to let them die of malnourishment and treatable gastrointestinal diseases.
yeah, they were not willing to cut off the head of the snake, however, right, in this instance. And essentially what happened is that Timothy McVeigh was locked up. The movements, because I knew their names then before there were many, 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 many more than there are now, multiplied and turned into Trump's following, because all they needed was a charismatic leader. Once that's gone, I don't think they're going to be able to hold together. They're falling apart now. It's like a clown car, but had the watch list that was created after this happened, and the federal first the standoff in Waco, that was 93, and then of course McVeigh was in 95, had the
And one of them bombed the
list.
Olympics in Atlanta in 96, didn't they?
They did, and they targeted wrongly groundsperson initially, and tortured a confession out of him, and then it turned out to be within the white supremacist league. So with all of that, they had a giant actual FBI watch list, not just a scholarly watch list. We had been building that for years, those of us who've been paying attention to this.
But after 9/11, they threw that in the back shelf. And
oh, well, they didn't throw it in the back shelf, but they put all of the resources toward, right, creating the Homeland Security thing so that they could actually just watch everybody without any discretion at all. And that now fell into the hands of somebody who is literally following the playbook that says, hey, just dismantle every one of the pillars of society, as we were talking about, and has that temporary following. So now it's just very like wibbly wobbly. All of that to say, it is also very wibbly wobbly because it is not a cogent strategy. And you can't make people do anything. You can threaten them. You can coerce. You can create violence upon. You can, but you can't, like, whatever you do to me physically, right? Whatever else happens. Here's what I know. I have created enough space within myself that I am aware that standing for human justice is not a popularity contest, right? Standing for uh, growth and solidarity is not the most popular the way to win prom queen, right? And I'm aware that I can feel pretty good at night about what I contribute now and have contributed to the lives of the people I'm around, and I believe that that is true for the people who I find myself around as well. And I do believe that that the people who are willing to articulate that position aloud and who have been afraid to is growing as the people who have been on the Trump boat or the rats who have been on the Trump boat are trying to scurry off now and find their off ramps. I do think that, I mean, the reality is, none of us is in charge of anything. We all like to think we're in charge of something, but nobody is. None of us is in charge of a damn thing. We don't know what is going to happen next. And as a consequence of that, like the best that we can do is to hold tight to the people that we love and to do so with as much integrity as possible. And that is not the position that they hold. And while that is true, and they're playing for who can have the most money and resources, I kind of feel like, I don't know, we already won. Does that make any sense?
I mean, no, we haven't won if you're talking about material reality of who controls the levers of power in the United States of America. Absolutely not. If you're talking about like, how do I ensure that I'm a good ancestor and that I meet my death well because I made the most of my life and I made the decisions I could make to do what was within my power to do? Sure, absolutely. If death comes for me tomorrow, then I'll be like, all right, I did what I could do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking on the soul level of like the nature of existence, sure, we've won. If you're looking at the political reality of whether our kids are going to have school or free lunch or healthcare or anything else for the next decade, no, we're not anywhere near winning in this moment.
I don't think we're going to be at it. No, and I don't think it's an easy journey, right? I think that's just what life is, right? That's just what life is. Life is rough. I've been saying it for years. I'm in it now. It was a cute moment when it was like, okay, well, this is kind of comfortable. It feels like it might be on the right path. Of what? I don't know. Because the more comfortable it gets, the more you're sitting around not creating and not doing, it's like that's just what life is. That's the kind of creatures we are. It's not great. Because it does mean that if we're not working in cooperation and in community, that you start building out and then it turns into all of the things that we're talking about, right? But when we are in community and we're doing it in a way that has allowance for people to meet their own to flourish, right, within the community. And beyond, if you want, if you're willing to bring back resources and hey, and share resources as you're doing that, great. Hey, got something to share it. If we're doing that with a mindfulness about what we are trying to build rather than a nostalgia for what was, right? I think that's where the win is, to let go of the idea that like we're going to return to some anything. Like we don't know. We're going. No, I would love to see us move toward having a parliament. We're not doing that tomorrow, but
right. And we talked
remember what
last
I
time
was
about
talking about.
nobody needs to be the administrator for an entire continent. Like,
No.
you know, um, we don't need one person making decisions for millions of people. What's a system where people have both individual autonomy, self-expression, freedom of belief, etc., but also collective responsibility? That with your individual expression is also your responsibility to contribute to the well-being of the collective. That's the thing that's missing from toxic American individualism, is that responsibility to contribute to the well-being of the collective instead of how do I get as much for me as possible. Like it's the Hunger Games instead of some collaborative, I don't know, a game that's collaborative where you build instead of an art project where you're building a collage or painting a mural together or something, right? Which is really what I think life is supposed to be. It's supposed to be an act of creation and community survival. It's not supposed to be how do I hoard all the pieces for myself while everyone else around me starves to death. Like that's not the reality I want to live in. It may be the one I'm stuck in, but it's not the way I'm going to live my life while I'm here. There's abundant resources all around us. If we keep them moving and flowing, we can all be thriving. But it's a hard sell when someone's like, yeah, but I could have more for me. And I hate you. So
Yeah. Well, right. And ultimately that's the thing. I mean, people are annoying, people are aggravating. And if we are able to remember that and know that each one of us is people, which means that I am annoying and I am aggravating, and that going through the process of trying to self-actuate with that in mind, right? And know that if what you are trying to build is something that people are going to be authentically attracted to, it's going to take you a lot of internal work, beyond the ego piece of it, beyond being willing to put your face up on YouTube or put your voice out or whatever. You are really going to have to do a lot of work, so that it is about making sure that what we're doing, what I'm doing, is giving something and not just yapping, you know.
or exploiting and extracting, which is what we've been
Yeah.
taught to do. Exploit and extract from other people, from the earth, from the world around you, instead of contributing. All right. So let's dream about what we want to contribute and create, instead of toxic nostalgia about what we used to have or how terrible things were and will yet be.
Happy 420, everybody. Hey, listen, when we get into these things, it's going to get deep, and it's going to get better and deeper. Please do, if you are interested in contributing to being one of the producers of this, join the others of the producers of this who are the members of Strategy and Solidarity, who can be found at strategyandSolidarity.org, where you can become a member by subscribing. If you are here on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. Evidently, it helps the algorithm. There was a vibrant discussion.
Anywhere you may be listening to this, you can like and subscribe.
Anywhere that it is.
That would be strategic and show us solidarity all at the same time.
Would love that. Would love that.
Reviews, I believe 5-star reviews
on YouTube. Would love to keep that going from people on the left. Let's be there first.
No, come if you're then you should come to Strategy and Solidarity, where we don't have to deal with trolls. That's where we want to be in conversation with you. Just come over there and talk to us there. Just leave the trolls there. Come. You're invited in if you're on our side. Come into the community.
So close to yes, and it's incredible. We're going to get there. And meet us in a few of the offerings that we are going to have coming up. You can find those in the app as well. One of those is a repeat of an event that's going to be happening on May 7th. Theresa, what is that event?
We are offering conflict resolution for anti-fascists live one more time due to popular demand. We also have fascism versus your nervous system coming up, collaborative solving for the apocalypse, and there was one more that was escaping my mind in this moment. We'll tell you next week. Come back and
All
listen.
right. In the meantime,
or come find us at strategyandSolidarity.org.
As always, to Imani Will for the incredible intro and outro music. And thank you to you for listening and watching. And that's all.
Take good care of yourselves out there.